Hello and welcome to another Free History Online video. Today we're going to be looking at treatments in the medieval era for the health in Britain topic, and particularly thinking about the significance of the Black Death. Okay, hello and welcome. And in today's lesson, we're going to be thinking then about treatments during the medieval era, particularly, and focusing around significant skill. Now, it's question 2 in the AQA exam, and we need to think about a certain set of skills to make sure we are successful and get our grade 9 answer. So in the lesson today, we're going to review those particular skills, and we're obviously going to recap treatments of the medieval era around about the Black Death, and then also we can think about their significance. So it will require a little bit of over time thinking, which is the nature of the health in Britain over time topic. So if you want to recap your knowledge, I'll put some videos at the top here, particularly around treatments in the medieval era and beyond, to recap your knowledge. So have a look at those, then come back and we will look at getting some grade 9 history skills for the significance question. Firstly, we'll have a little quiz on the significance of the Black Death. So here we are then with our quiz. And as you'll see, it's a slightly different quiz to some of my normal ones. This time, I'd like to have a look through and read through all the ideas and have a think which of these are significant about the Black Death. So I'd like to think about what the word significant means and think which of these are significant events. So you can pause the screen, have a look through and read them at your own leisure and think which of them are significant. Okay, so hopefully you've had a little bit of time to think about that. So let's think about what significant might actually mean. So how do we decide if something is actually a significant thing? So I've talked through my class quite often about these ideas, as we know. So LISTS, lists, the idea that something is significant can be broken down into this list criteria. So something might have a L for long-term impact. It will last for a very long time. Something will be significant, it lasts for a very, very long time. It might have important people and important places involved in it. It has some importance. It has a large size and scale, lots of people, lots of places involved. It still impacts us today. We still talk about it today as something would mean something significant, or it has a really big short-term impact, leads to another major event. You know, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was a particularly significant assassinations that led to the First World War would be a good example of that. Okay, so significance is different to important. A lot of students will say significance is something that's important, but it's different. Why would we have two words for the same thing? It's got to mean something slightly different. So an example of this might be here's a classic teacher example for you. It is important to go to school, but a significant day in school would be when you had your exams, because your exams will have a long-term effect on your life, whereas maybe not every day in school has a long-term impact on your life, unless, of course, it's a particularly good or bad day. So, you get that idea, significance. It's more than just important, okay? An important person comes to dinner. That makes that dinner particularly significant, whereas obviously dinner's always important to have a good meal. So you get the impression about significance being slightly different than importance. So we need to make sure we use this criteria to answer our questions. So if we go back to the examples, let's see. So which of them are long-term? Again, you can play the game. You can see I've made a key at the bottom. You can pause and have a think. You can go back over them and go, which of them are long-term? Which ones are important? Which one's side scale? Which one's today? And which one's short-term? Are there any that are none? Or is any of these, have I tricked you? All of them rubbish? Okay, let's see. So which ones are long-term? So people start to lose faith in religious cures. The Black Death showed that religious cures didn't work. So over the centuries, religion was abandoned as a medicine and a treatment. The Black Death started to end serfdom in England, so a big change to people's wealth. Now, that does affect our health topic because obviously people are richer, can afford doctors, better public health, more taxes, those sorts of things. Important people, Guy de Chauliac saved the Pope, showed that miasma and quarantine laws could work, and that was significant. Size and scale, 50% of the population died in England. It's a pretty big size and scale there, folks. And then 70% of priests died, showing that religious cures didn't work. You could be as holy as you like, but you're still going to die. And the Black Death was a huge epidemic affecting the known world. So obviously, lots of places start to rethink their medicine and treatments. Today, okay, so a couple of those long-term ones we still talk about today. Obviously, Black Death is still spoken about today. We talk about in, epidemics and pandemics during COVID, those sorts of things. So till today, we don't use religion particularly as cures very often, and obviously serfdom disappeared, so it's very, very much around today as well. Short term. Okay, so short term, we get the Peasants' Revolt in 1381, when the king tried to control the wages of the people. So again, peasants demanding more rights. Again, that's important for even our health topic. People getting more rights and sort of starting to demand change can affect health and medicine, of course, as well. And big short-term impact, obviously, the huge amount of wage increases for peasants again. In a big short-term impact, they've got more wealth, they can have a better life, they could be healthier. Okay, so we can see lots and lots of significance of Black Death with all different categories. So how do we then write this? Okay, just a reminder, this is question 2 in your exam. You will get a question that says explain the significance of something for 8 marks. It could be a person, an event, a factor. Okay, so you need to have prepared all of these ideas. So what does make a successful answer? Again, if you want to play along with the game, you can have a think. Okay, well, pause me, have a think. What do you think would make a successful answer? If you see many of my videos, I think you'll know what the successful answer is already. So 2 times peel paragraphs. We need 2 paragraphs. We need to explain 2 things to get 8 marks. Okay, so 2 okay explained things could get you up to 6 marks. 2 well-explained things with a furthermore could get you 8 marks. Focus on your points around a list criteria. So now your points should be on the list criteria now. It shouldn't just be about any odd random thing. It should be a long-term impact, big size and scale. So your points now are about the list criteria to explain significance. Okay. Back up your point with an example of that significance. Okay, so your point is a list criteria. Evidence is an example of that. Then explain how that example shows that list criteria. So what is the long-term impact? Or if you think that was what you wanted to say, what was the size and scale? Okay, explain that. And then use furthermore to give an extra idea. How else is it long-term? Give 2 explanations of it, perhaps. Okay, hope that makes sense. So let's see how that works. Okay, so have a go at working through this paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to break down the writing frame into little pieces for you to have a go at. Okay, so you can work alongside me a piece of paper, or maybe you have a revision booklet you're working through, and you can try and answer this question. So one way that the Black Death significance development of treatments was that the usual list criteria. Finish the sentence, give me an idea. Okay, and when you're ready, turn back on the video and we'll go through an example. Okay, so an example then. Significant development treatments that led to the death of a huge amount of people. Okay, so I've gone for size and scale. Okay, maybe you've gone for long term, that it changed people's treatments. Okay, doesn't matter what you've gone for, as long as it's a list criteria and you're going to back it up with an example. So, now think about the example you're going to give. Okay, pause me and give it a go. All right, so for example, then, so for about 50% of the population in England died, and about 7% of the priests and clergy died. So there's my evidence. It's got some facts in it. It's really to the point. Now I want to explain. This means Black Death is different development of treatments because. So I need to explain the significance and how all these people dying affects treatments. And it's going to have to be at the time period, really, because I'm not saying it's long term. So I'm going to have to explain something about medieval treatments at that time and how they changed. Okay, so I need to use my medieval knowledge about treatments. So if I don't know anything, I need to maybe look at my quiz notes. I need to look back at my revision video and find out some more. Okay, if you've gone for a long term, maybe, or you've gone for importance, then obviously you've given your example. You now need to explain how that led to treatments developing. Okay, so here's my here's my explanation. Now have a pause, give it a go yourself. But here's my one. So it's significant development of treatments because people realised that their current treatments did not work, because obviously everyone was dying. This meant people turned away from superstitious treatments and started to use new ideas like miasma treatments that were promoted by Guy de Chauliac when he saved the Pope during the Black Death. Okay, so if you've gone for the importance one of Guy de Chauliac, that explanation will probably work for you again. If you've gone for a long-term idea, you could probably have a similar idea of abandoning religious causes and going for miasma and other ideas over time, of course. That might work for you as well. If I want to go for the 7 and 8 marks, I really need to think about a wider link here. I need to think about different people, different places, different times, okay, and think about a bit of a further idea. So I might want to not worry about different times yet, maybe, because that's going to muddle up my significance explanation. I might want to think about different people and places, perhaps a little bit, to try and explain another change due to the large death rate. So have a go yourself. If you've gone long term, have a think about another long term change. If you've gone importance, can you think of another importance? Or size and scale, can you think of another impact of all this death? Okay, so pause and have a go. And here's my go. So, furthermore, as the Black Death killed about 7% of the clergy, the church lost influence over people's lives, and more extreme ideas developed, like flagellation and attacks on Jewish people, which were not very effective treatments. So I've gone as for a negative significance, that people started to look for more extreme ideas that didn't really work very well. So I've gone a furthermore in that sense. Okay, so you can now self-assess your whole paragraph now. You can see I've given an example here. You'll notice, of course, that evidence has facts in it, explanation has names and facts in it, and my furthermore has names and facts in it. So you need to make sure you've got that as well, supporting your ideas. Okay, now you're welcome to give a go of a second paragraph. It should be 2 paragraphs, of course. Maybe you want to think about long-term changes medicine if you haven't done a long-term one already. All right, and give that a go. And then once you've had a go, on the next slide, I have an example you could use to self-assess your answer. So have a pause, give it a go, practice yourself so you can then develop your skills, and then have a look at the next slide. Okay. So here is the example answer. So another way to back the significance of development of treatments was it led to long-term change in health medicine as people abandoned religious ideas. Okay, so I've gone religious ideas again. For example, during Black Death, treatments like prayer, superstition, and 4 Humans are shown to be ineffective. Remember, obviously, the 4 Humans was promoted by the church, folks. So this means the Black Death was significant to the development of treatments because other treatments developed and improvements as the church lost influence. This meant that by the time of the Great Plague, miasma was a common theory and people isolated the sick, stopped bad air spreading and causing further disease. Furthermore, by the 1800s, people started to investigate the air even more, and they realized that bacteria cause disease, not religious or supernatural ideas. So you could include a few more facts and things in there. You could obviously talk about, obviously, Pasteur, or you could talk about a bit more detail about the Great Plague, of course, if you wanted. But I feel like you get the idea of where you could go with that answer. Okay. Okay, well, I hope you found today's lesson really useful. You've managed to think about what significance is all about and think about the skills of significance. And obviously, you can start applying that to lots of other themes and topics through the medicine and health topic. Any person, any factor, any big event could be, you need to think about their significance. Okay, so look out for more videos. I'll be talking about significance again. And good luck with your revision. Bye-bye for now.